Perhaps you'll need this for Hello and welcome to the GhostÉire Channel. Tonight we are joined by author, producer, paranormal investigator and researcher Ashley Darkwood. Hi Ashley.
Anthony, how are you, my man? How are you?
Hey, how are you doing?
Yeah, good. Yeah.
We're coming live for the next hour or so there. If you have any questions, feel free to put them forward to Ashley and to any of the subjects tonight.
Chime in, people. Chime in.
Join in, folks. That's what it is. It's an interactive show. So if you have any questions in relation to High Wycombe Ghost Tours or the Hellfire Caves or Psychometry, feel free to put them forward, or anything in relation to what we're going to mention tonight, or anything in what you're thinking about tonight, you can also put forward to Ashley and maybe myself as well there. As well. So also tonight, folks, we have a competition where you have a chance to enter a Halloween mega draw. Also, Ashley will have a chance there. You're locked in a bedroom. You've been asked to come to a house and investigate it. Be the first person to type in a word that I'll give you later on in the show, and you have a chance to go into that bedroom and go into the Halloween mega draw.
Let's have some of that. Yeah, let's go for that. Yeah,
let's go for it there. So also, folks, if you'd like to contact the page, you can go to our website, www.ghostére.net. Go to contact page, fill in the blanks. If you have a private message, just put in brackets private message. Also, if you're affiliated with any paranormal team or tourist attraction, feel free to name the group or the organization and we'll give a shout out to you. You can also watch live on Red Button on our website. You can also catch up on past shows and what's coming up on the future on that. We'll just go a few shout outs. Hi, Mary.
Is that Mary Noonan, like the Noonan sisters?
She could be there, Mary.
Am I showing my age there?
She's in Back in Time Paranormal Investigators. Hi, Mary. How you doing?
Hi, Mary. Yeah.
Joanne Breen from Seekers of the Afterlife says, good evening to all. Hope everyone is well. Helena B. Scott. Hi, Helena. I'll be asking questions about psychometry as I work with that.
Oh, yeah.
Ashley.
We'll get to that. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So we're going to talk about those subjects tonight. If you have anything in relation to any of the subjects, feel free to put them forward as well.
Yeah.
Irene from California. Hi, Irene.
Hi, Irene.
How you doing? Irene's from California there. Recently. California, yeah.
Whew, I could do with a bit of time on California beaches, Los Angeles or something like that. Yeah.
So, and I've got another shout out there. No, that's all. That's it. That's all.
Okay.
Right then, that's it.
Good, yeah?
See you later, folks. But yes, we're gonna show a bit of a video before I'm gonna go to interview there, Ashley there. But I'm just going to show a bit of a video there, and it's in relation to what Ashley's been on there. He's been on a good few shows there. He's been on radio shows. This is a show reel. He's been on this show as well. This is a show reel from Ashley's side there. So I'm just going to show this for a few minutes. It just gives a bit of information. It's very interesting now about even involving some of the topics tonight and what we're going to be talking about. So here it comes.
Here in West Wycombe lies a vast underground network of tunnels known as the Hellfire Caves. This name conjures up all sorts of images. What was originally seemingly an act of philanthropy seems to hide some very, very sinister motives. Excavation of the caves began in 1748. Sir Francis Dashwood realised that local farmers were impoverished. Crops had been failing. For decades, visitors to the caves have reported numerous accounts of paranormal activity. Apparitions have been seen, strange mists, footsteps in the gravel when no one else is around. Throughout the cave network are dozens of inscriptions in the wall, some suggesting these faces are of satanic nature. Not everything that happens here in Hellfire Caves can be explained by science or logic. The fact that there have been so many sightings of Paul Whitehead and Suki suggests that there is something much bigger going on here.
Well, actually, you made it out alive.
Only just.
Welcome.
Yeah, we made it, yeah.
So what was it like in there, in those caves?
It's a fascinating place. There's so much history and folklore, and you're not really sure what's genuine fact and what's exaggerated.
Yeah.
And all that kind of plays into the psychology of you walking in there.
Mr. Flaherty was in bed on his own, and his neighbour heard the smoke alarm and went to investigate what the problem was. She called the fire department, and they actually discovered his body to have been completely cremated, but the rest of his room to be completely untouched. I think the most significant thing about Amersham is that the history of the old town has been preserved. It was a major coaching in between trade routes from City of London up to major market towns such as Aylesbury and Buckingham. It would be one day's travel on horse and cart from City of London to as far as Amersham, and a good coach driver would not have worked his horse any more than that. So you had a huge volume of people staying in old Amersham, travellers going north and south if they were coming back the other way. And each of the coaching inns, the majority of them, are still in place today as pubs and restaurants. People who have stayed in room 16 of the Crown have reported being interfered with during the night. Men have found that their sheets are being tucked in while they're lying in bed. Their suitcase might be unpacked or repacked depending on how they left it. It's said that hanging Judge Jeffreys would often visit the place. Now, he was responsible for sending hundreds and hundreds of people to the hangman, a very brutal man. That was originally built in the year 1450. It's quite possible that there was an older alehouse on the site as well. Obviously, with that level of history, there's been thousands upon thousands of different people visiting the place, staying in the place, but it's most famous for being the place where the Amersham martyrs, the Lollards, were imprisoned. I think one of the most fascinating things for people in the modern day is the immersive aspect of visiting these places that are reputedly haunted. Many of them have not changed their features since the Tudor period, or certainly for several hundred years. They can actually visit these places and feel immersed in what the place would have looked like those hundreds of years ago. They can actually feel the vibe, feel the essence of what long-lost relatives from hundreds of years before would have perceived in that area. Add to that the fascination people have with horrible history and ghost stories. It all creates the perfect environment for people to visit living history. Ruth Ellis was the last woman to be executed in the UK. She was buried in Holloway Prison because the condemned would not receive a good Christian burial. Of course, times and attitudes changed. When Holloway Prison was being extended, they were looking for places to bury the people that were in the graveyard there. St Mary's Church in Amersham agreed to take the body of Ruth Ellis.
There was more tragedy to follow.
Unfortunately, in the early 80s, her son destroyed the headstone before committing suicide, and the priest at the church has left her grave unmarked, although a few locals do know which is her grave.
There are those who suggest the crime wasn't as black and white as it appeared.
The case of Ruth Ellis is a fascinating one. For many years, people believed it to be a cut-and-dried case. She killed her lover and was discovered holding, literally, the smoking gun. When it went to court, she pleaded guilty, and for several decades people believed that there was no more interest in the case. However, in more modern times, people with firearms experience, whether they be police officers or from the military, have looked into the case and found or believed that a very small, petite, diminutive woman like Ruth Ellis could not have used the gun required, the calibre of the gun required, to have inflicted the shots on David Blakely with the level of accuracy that was. The stone tape theory suggests that the emotion or action of an event somehow remains embedded in the fabric of a place, and it replays itself to people of a certain sensitivity under certain conditions, almost like a visual echo of the past, rather than being a spirit entity such as humans who pass over and then come back. It's believed that this is somehow just an anomaly in the time-space continuum. Of course, the power of suggestion is absolutely huge, and of course a lot of people identify with Ruth Ellis and her plight. She was in a very abusive relationship, so a lot of people did feel a great deal of sympathy towards her. And also with the Amish martyrs, people who love God, they worship God, they love Jesus, they love the church, they just wanted the right to read the Bible in their native tongue. So all these very sad stories do quite, they play on the conscience of people visiting the area, and could explain why people perceive some of the paranormal activity.
See you later, Ashley. That's it. No need to do anything else. Thanks for coming on. I'm only joking.
That says everything, doesn't it? Really. So that's me. That's me. Yeah.
But folks, yeah, this is just a bit of what Ashley's involved in. I actually, how I got to know Ashley is probably watching these programs there, and it's amazing. I just got a few more shout outs. Hi Colette, how you doing? Hi David, and hi Carol, how you doing? Hope you're all
enjoying. All you good? Yeah.
So I'm just going to go on to the first subject, which is probably involves a bit of this. There's Ashley there. It's High Wycombe Ghost Tours there. Can you tell us how that came about?
Well, I used to be a social worker, and I was working in mental health. I was working in community mental health, and I'm sure you can appreciate how very stressful that was. And it's like, I'm not having a good time doing this kind of work. I was dealing with a lot of very stressful things. And but by the by, I got involved in professional wrestling.
Okay.
Now I'm only 5'7". Some of those boys in old America, they're like 6'7". You know what I mean? There's some big boys.
Yeah.
But I was doing some wrestling shows in England, and just having a bit of japes and fun. I'd always done martial arts. Always done martial arts as a kid, which I do believe helped my mediumship, as we'll get on to later on. But I just found myself, I got into becoming a stunt performer in television and film, just doing stunt work in television and film, fight sequences and things like that. Wow. So I actually found myself just very transcending from a job I hated to a career that I never thought I would have. Just ultra quickly, like how the hell has this happened? I've gone from I've career hated, to something that I never thought would happen. Okay. So at that point, a lot of other things started to happen. A lot of other avenues started to happen. It's like when you talk, you talk about dream big. A lot of dreams started to happen. So becoming a medium, that happened there. When you start talking about running ghost tours, that happened there. Yeah. Because we all love ghost stories, don't we?
Oh, I think
we all love ghost stories. And when I became an actor, and I hate that term, actor, because I'm not really an actor. I'm a stunt performer. Nonetheless, I've still got downtime like an actor. Hate them. Real hate them though. But the actors need jobs in between. And I started working. I met a young girl from Australia. She's like, I'm running ghost tours around London. Can you help me out? I went, yeah, of course. Yeah. So I'm running ghost tours for her. Running ghost tours for her.
Right.
Around London.
Wow.
She's making the money. I'm earning £40 a time.
And
I was like, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Where I live is pretty damn haunted.
Yeah.
I had never, ever collated where I lived. In terms of entertainment, in terms of the ghost stories that people love to hear. So I started doing that. And of course, you start out with those urban legendy kind of stories. The green lady over there, the black monk over there, and so you start out with that kind of thing, and then you actually start to meet people who say, well, actually, I worked in that pub and I saw this. And it's like, actually, no, this is big.
Yeah.
I've had the urban legendary ghost story that's led me from there to here. And now I'm talking to somebody who works in that pub, theatre. I'm generalizing, of course.
Yeah.
But I'm now talking to somebody who said, I walked down the stairs and I saw this.
So
You are now
yeah,
absolutely. First, absolutely first spectrum witness, that person is telling you what they saw. And you're like, oh, that's number one, that's going in the script. That's going in the script. Of course, that's going in the script. But also, you are a student of parapsychology yourself. It's like, well, what could that have been? Could it have been something over here? Could it have been something over there? And it's like, no. This person is actually telling me on a regular day that they're working, they saw this.
Yeah.
And so over the course of running a ghost tour, you actually meet a lot of people like this.
Yeah.
A lot of people have got their own independent stories, and some of those stories, quote, not meant to tell anybody else, but I'll tell you. So holy shit, what's going on? It's like, hang on a minute. Yeah. There's a heck of a lot of ghost stories around a very small area. And for me, this is High Wycombe. Obviously, the one about Amersham was put on TV. But I dare say, anywhere where you look at these, these urban legendary ghost stories, you'll probably find some very significant witness accounts, whether it's Dublin, Glasgow, London, anyway you look, you will actually meet somebody who's seen that thing or something similar,
Yeah, it's kind of, there's like a pattern, and that's it's actually the best, to get the stories. It's not off the internet, I suppose, as you would probably suggest that. Probably first-hand people up front there, because people that probably would comment or say stuff wouldn't actually go to newspapers or put up on the internet.
Absolutely.
Actually work in the premises.
Yeah. I mean, there are living people who know the urban legend kind of haunts, but also there are living people who don't know the urban legend haunts, but have experienced something. And for me, that's what is fascinating. It's like, oh my goodness, like this young lady I'm talking to, she's 21 years old. She has never met the guy who I met, who died 20 years ago before she was born. And they're talking about the same thing.
Jesus, yeah.
It's fascinating.
And the tours, do they cover, yourself there? Is it a foot tour? Does it cover a good distance, or is it?
I mean, for me personally, I just choose a route where it's how can we say, ambulatory. So people of many whether the wheelchair users or whatever they may be, they can follow this route. It's an ambulatory friendly route. Because I want as many people as possible to appreciate the story I'm telling. Now, High Wycombe is very peculiar in that it's in a valley. It's in a V shape. You see my hands right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, the lowest point, well, that's where McDonald's is. Okay. It's in the bottom of the valley. Anything up here is where people live up here.
Yeah.
So High Wycombe is a valley. It's the Chiltern Hills. It's like, a part of glaciation. That's another story. Yeah. But nonetheless, High Wycombe is equidistant between City of London, as old, and Oxford.
Right, yeah.
Literally, if you imagine, we've got the M40 now, the motorway, the M40. If you imagine the A40, horse and track, well, High Wycombe was equidistant, so it was one day's travel either way.
Yeah.
If you're traveling from Oxford to London, Well, it would take 1 day to get to High Wycombe. If you're traveling from London to Oxford, it would take you 1 day to get to High Wycombe. So High Wycombe was the centre. High Wycombe is a really boring town right now, don't get me wrong. But back in the day, High Wycombe was the middle, literally equidistant between London and Oxford. So you had highwaymen, you had lords, you had ladies, you had thieves, you had all the kind of things you might imagine when you're moving around on horse and cart.
Yeah.
The whole plethora of those within around High Wycombe. And a lot of people say
bad.
Oh, crikey! Yeah, my goodness, yeah. So you had your higher echelons of the most noble coaching inns, and you also had the most scummy of coaching inns. I mean, just a couple of miles down the road, to this day, there is a piece of woodland called Cutthroat Woods.
Oh wow!
I mean, yeah. I mean,
does it get that name for nothing?
Exactly. Yeah, it got the good old-fashioned way. You know, it is a brutal area, being equidistant between Oxford and the City of London.
And as you said, as you mentioned, the V shape there, is it like there's many ways to see what's coming from a distance and all that, you know?
Well, here's the thing, because if you're going out of town, to say towards Oxford, you start going into dense woodland, even to this day. Hence the reason the M40 bypasses it.
Right.
Dense woodland. If you're driving on the A40, dense woodland. So you can only imagine back in those days that, you know, you've had a little bit of sleep or you're tired or whatever. Yeah. This dense woodland for highwaymen, that's a dream for them. They will come down, they will hijack you. And so it was a brutal area, absolutely brutal area.
And the tours there, can you tell us what there's a few highlights, a few landmarks, as you said that you picked the most notorious.
So there's actually a particular place that is not on the tour because it's too far to walk to. But High Wycombe, World War II onwards until about the 1980s, the American Air Force had a heavy presence in High Wycombe. I know that a lot of our viewers here, lovely, beautiful people, Arthur Bomber Harris, he was an RAF, commander. Bomber Harris was up there, and he got the name Bomber Harris, as we said, the old-fashioned way. Bomber Harris absolutely decimated parts of Germany. Relentlessly. Not just like military targets, civilian targets. Bomber Harris had the shoe been on the other foot. Bomber Harris would have been a war criminal.
Yeah.
He was a ruthless man. Nonetheless, his decisions helped win the war, so to speak. Well, he had an office just outside of High Wycombe at a place called Knapp Hill, RAF Knapp Hill.
Okay.
And many years go by. I become friends with a couple of former military police officers. These are stern people, you know what I mean? They don't screw about. They're not, they're not paranormal people like we are. They're former military police officers. And they get to know what I'm interested in and what you're interested in and what what our viewers are interested in. And one of them says to me, do you want to know a story about RAF Knapp Hill? And I'm like, go on, tell me. Well, RAF Knapp Hill was where Arthur Bomber Harris had his office.
Right.
Strike Command. To this day, if you look on Google, it's called Strike Command.
Okay, yeah.
It's the intelligence place.
Right.
Hope no Russians are watching this now. Have I just fucked it? Oh shit! No. Like, it's on Google. It's all right. It's all right.
It's all gone up by one viewer there recently.
Yeah, fucking hell. Yeah, cut that one. In the very early 80s, when things were still analog, before things were digital, you and I are gentlemen of a certain age, and you know, no disrespect to your listeners, I'm hoping they can appreciate, if they can appreciate a switchboard. A switchboard. So you've got a telephonist person putting a plug in one thing and then a plug in the other thing to connect the phone lines, because this is a military, you know, military defense base. You know, this is massively intelligent, you know, military. It's important, you know.
Yeah, strategic place. Yeah.
It was the Cold War in those days, in the early strategic, as you say, in the early 80s, the Cold War was still a big thing. And again, digital was not a thing. It was all very analog. And the story came to me as was the former office of Arthur Bomber Harris was decommissioned. It was a building that was out of use. Nobody's using that building. However, the telephonist realized that the phone line in that office was live.
Right.
So she's concerned. She's like, well, there should be nobody in there. So she's called a couple of whitecaps, who are the RAF police, to go and investigate. And they've gone and investigated, and she's talking to them on the radio while listening to the phone in the other ear. And the two military police officers are saying, there's nobody in here. There's nothing to see. It's all, you know, don't worry. And she's saying, no, I can hear a man telling you to get out.
All right.
And with that, those two very hardened military police officers with guns, you know, with what they've gone.
All right.
Yeah. That's
So that was an experience they had then. So that's incorporated in your tour as well.
We don't walk there because it's that much out of town, but that I've actually interviewed the people who were involved in that story. Yeah.
Just a few more shout outs. Dawn Arnold says, evening.
Oh, Dawn Arnold. She's from High Wycombe. She's lovely. I went to her wedding a couple of weeks ago, months ago, even. Yeah.
Oh, there we go, Dawn. Big shout out there. Bridget's from Seekers of the Afterlife says hi to you both. Eugene from Afterlife Paranormal Island. Hi, Eugene. How you doing? Brian from Belfast Paranormal Investigators.
I haven't got my glasses on. I can't really see what's going on.
I know it's very small to write in there. Yeah. How you doing, Brian? Bo? See you soon. Carol says, before we go to the more questions, last couple of questions about the tours there. Carol wants to know, what's your view on the Negaphonic app, Ashley?
Oh! Actually, I've got a lot of things about these apps. Apps, no. Apps, no.
No, yeah.
They're apps. They're programmed to pump out a load of shit, to be honest with you. However, I had something significant happen with a Spirit Box app. And I've told you about this, Ant. A particular television celebrity.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Who has a particular television contract.
Yeah.
Ripped off my research. And one of the significant things was me using a Spirit Box. And I don't normally trust a Spirit Box, but that day, that Spirit Box gave some amazing results. Big update on that one.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. I know. Well, we'll see how we go there. See how you can tell anyone. It's up to you, Ashley. Mary says, I worked as a tour guide in a haunted house, and people every day would surprise you with things they would see. Same things, different people, different days. Was awesome. Yeah, so as you said there, Ashley, it's like people witnessing the same apparition or sensing the same stuff, but different people.
I didn't. Was that a question?
Oh no, she Mary's just like, you know, because she used to work in a haunted house as well, like, you know.
Yeah, I think,
and she's just explaining as well the same thing as what you're saying, like different people coming back with it.
I think you know, you just have to be absolutely passionate and complete. Because I also do Jack the Ripper tours, and you have to be absolutely passionate. And I was so lucky in school. I had history teachers who were amazing. And when my history teachers talked, I could see what they were saying.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Maybe that was just a little like symbiotic relationship between me and the history teacher. But I think if you are going to run any tours, whether it's a ghost tour, a Jack the Ripper tour, or any kind of tour, you have to be passionate.
No, you do. You do.
You have to have passion, because then your customer can absorb your passion. Do you know what I mean? And they can see what you're painting. You know, your passion will always come across, and this actually fits into what we're talking about later on with the psychometry. Just the passion, the energy. You know, if you're going to tell a story, tell it with passion. You know.
Yeah, I remember doing I did the Killarney ghost tours. Well, I wasn't the person doing the actual tours. I was the person bringing people onto it. So I was bringing onto the ghost bus, but I was the people getting the flies, getting around the town, trying to get people to join it. So I was dressed up in all monk, like dressed up in a monk with face paint, like therefore.
Oh, was that you?
Yeah. Well, you fella from Kiss. Simmons. I was dressed up like that, but it's if you gotta have the enthusiasm and get people. I just love walking around the town and scaring people. That's what I always loved doing there. But it's the enthusiasm, as you said there. Joanne says from Seekers of the Afterlife, Ashley, have you ever frozen with fear during a tour investigation? You want to leave but don't want to in case you miss something.
I don't want to come across like Billy Big bollocks. But no, I have not. No, I have not. No. I have had those moments when I've been doing an investigation, a private investigation, but not during a tour. Joanne, if you'd like me to elaborate on that, we'll talk to Ant and we can elaborate on that.
Has there been, like, is there any people that have come on your tour that have had anything unsuspected happen to them?
Oh, crikey. Oh, goodness. Yes. Okay. So, again, the High Wycombe tour, my hometown where I'm born, you know, just where I'm from, 10 years ago or so, it was a very unfortunate story where a young lad, and it was, I don't know how your holidays work out, but in Ireland, the Good Friday, is a bank holiday. You don't work.
Yeah, true. Yeah, same here.
However, these couple of guys, they worked on the Good Friday,
right?
Gardening maintenance. They were covered in filth, caked in shit, basically.
Okay.
And by the time they got to the pub, everybody else, they were on a day off. So all these other people are dressed nicely, you know, they're showered and shaved and whatnot. These two guys, not so much. They've been doing manual work, gardening. This one lad, he was not allowed into the pub because he was dirty and he was filthy and drunk, basically, because they've been drinking other places.
Yeah.
This is a really sad story, and you can check it out if you look this up on the Buxbury Press website. Dawn Arnold will agree because she's from my hometown. She knows this story. This lad, he went into the church cemetery next to the pub, tried to jump over the fence into the pub beer garden, but managed to land on spikes.
All right.
And he landed, on his femoral artery, and he bled out. And it was a really, really stupid, tragic accident. Stupid, tragic accident. And I know the lad's sister. And anyway, so I'm running the ghost tour in High Wycombe. some couple of years later, I'm not looking to contact him. I'm not looking to, I'm very respectful of the fact that there are recent things happening.
Yeah.
I'm just looking to the residual or whatever.
Mm.
And there's a fella on the tour, and he said, my hand is freezing cold. So I had my thermal imaging camera on me, and I turned my thermal imaging camera on, and his hand was blue.
Right. Okay.
Blue. I get Raynaud's syndrome in this finger here, so that finger turns blue.
Yeah.
His entire hand was blue.
Oh, wow.
That's not Raynaud's syndrome. That's something else. So I'm
Yeah.
like, mate, you need to see a doctor. Honestly, you're not well. You're not well.
Yeah.
Long story short, the bloke with the blue hand was out drinking that day with the lad who jumped over the fence and died.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
In the exact area. In that exact area.
All right. Yeah. It's I suppose, things that spirits. It's not just the past. It's all energies. We still can feel them from yesterday. When
Yeah. I mean, we're in the area where the lad died, and the bloke he was working with that day was on my ghost tour. Well, why would they not connect?
True. Yeah. It's definitely. Yeah.
That was a very interesting one for me. I was like, holy shit. Like I say, I've got a video of his entire hand being blue on a thermal imaging camera.
Yeah. And it's some things you can't. It's you just it's the way it is. Like it happens like that there. So we just got to do the quiz there. So the first person, like Ashley, I'm gonna in a minute there after the next section there. But I'll need a person from the audience, whoever's watching. This is a chance to enter the Halloween mega draw. Get ready with the fingers. I'm going to give you a word.
I want some of that.
You're going to be automatically in it. You got a chance to be in it there, actually. But I need the first person, just one person, the first person to type the word Hellfire Club into the inbox there, into the messages. The first person to type Hellfire Club into the inbox will have a chance to go into our Halloween mega draw. But first of all, you'll have to go into the bedroom where the demon is. So just wait to see who's going to be up first. Oh, here they come. Helena is in there. Yeah, Helena there. Hellfire Club. Sorry, David. Hellfire. So that's my accent there. Hellfire meant there. So Helena's in there, and then Bridget. So you just have to stay on the line there, Helena. And Bridget, just in case Helena goes off there, you got
Dawn was pretty quick as well.
Yeah.
Respect to Dawn.
Dawn, where are you, Dawn? Well, yeah. Oh, no, I missed you there. I think Helena got in there first anyway there. And everyone's coming up there. Like, it's the way I say it there, So stay tuned there, Helena there. So we're going to talk about the Hellfire Club now. This is very spooky stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to reveal a lot of stuff here there, Ashley. Is that correct?
Well. So you've all seen.
Do you want me to ask you the first question, or do you want me to?
Oh yeah, go on then. Go.
Well, talk to yourself. Go on. Spill the beans. You're going to say something.
Well, I mean, you've all seen West Wycombe Hellfire Caves on Ghost Hunters and Most Haunted and all these ghosty shows, haven't you?
Yeah. Seen that. That's probably how I saw Most Haunted and all that.
And you've seen their mediums go blah 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 and da 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 da. And have you ever wondered what the real history is?
Yeah, I've only can go on by what I've seen on the TV programs or what's written there. Go on, Ashley, tell us what is it?
Well, I don't want to bore people with too many dates, figures, because too many dates and figures it overrides you. It gets a bit boring. But the village of West Wycombe just outside of High Wycombe, on the way to Oxford. So we've already established that. There we go. There's the mausoleum. There's the mausoleum above. So the mausoleum was built by Sir Francis Dashwood. Now, Sir Francis Dashwood, Lord Baronet, very important person, owned all this land, and actually his family still does. To be honest with you, it's part of the West Wycombe estate, which is part of the National Trust, but the Lord Baronet is still in effect. So there's still like titled people around that area.
Right.
What you're looking at, the mausoleum. Okay, let's do it this way. Let's do it this way. The mausoleum there.
The other picture.
Oh, hang on. No. Where are we going?
It's coming up there. It's nearly. It's like blind date. The door's been opening up.
Yeah, I'll swipe left on all those. So that's the entrance to the Hellfire Caves. So the Hellfire Caves, Francis Dashwood, as I say, the road from London to Oxford went straight through High Wycombe. The road from High Wycombe north to the village of West Wycombe was shit. It was fucking terrible. It was really, really bad. It was dreadful.
Right.
So Francis Dashwood, realizing that this was a major artery, on horse and cart, there was no M40, there was no other alternate route. Realized that this West Wycombe Road needed to be repaired. So he started to commission local farmers who were impoverished. Right. They'd had crops fail in the last few seasons. He employed them for a couple of shillings per day to dig chalk out of this West Wycombe hill, right, to a particular design. And nonetheless, this West Wycombe Road leading from High Wycombe up to Stoke-on-Church and then up to Oxford was repaired.
Right.
Absolutely repaired. This good chalk road, horse and cart. It may have taken you maybe 3 hours before to travel about an hour. Right. Now it's taking you maybe half an hour because the road is smooth, because all this chalk has been excavated from the caves.
Okay, yeah.
So, seemingly an act of philanthropy. However, Francis Dashwood, he has attended the original Hellfire Club in Dublin.
All right, everyone listening?
Over your neck of the woods.
Yeah.
Over your neck of the woods, yeah. So I've got to look at my notes because I run ghost tours all over the place. So I've got to look at my notes. That was in... Oh, Jesus, I can't even see because I've got my glasses off. So in 1863... 1763.
Yeah.
You're talking about a Hellfire Club in Ireland, in Dublin. That is your first Hellfire Club.
Yeah.
Francis Dashwood, very rich, famous man from England, goes over there. He's partying. He's having a good time. He's having, whatever, as you do. And they're mocking religion because in the 1700s, they're very much satirists. The very early press is kind of out, and you mock politicians, you mock the aristocracy. It's very much about mocking. And some few years later, by the 1740s, Francis Dashwood has come back to England, to his estate here in High Wycombe. Now, what he starts to do, as I say, he starts to employ people to dig chalk out of this hill. Now, he's already he's already been around Europe. He's been around like Rome, and he's a well-traveled man. So he's actually laid out plans for this chalk hill to be excavated to a certain kind of standard. I could put it, if you want to talk about that. And so anyway, the chalk hills have been dug out, and that's about it, really.
Yeah. So the Hellfire Club association with people doing rituals down there? Do you think no?
Nothing of the sort. There is huge miseducation that the Hellfire Club were engaged in satanic ritual, murder, sacrifice. That is absolutely not true. They did not even call themselves the Hellfire Club. The Hellfire Club was in Dublin.
Yeah.
That's the Hellfire Club over your way. That's your club. That's your club. That's your club over there. These guys, that yes, they mocked religion. They were like hipsters of the day. They mocked religion. They called themselves the monks of Medmenham, the friars of St. Francis. They mocked religion. They were not satanic at all. And I'll tell you for why this is. You will see these television shows filmed at Hellfire Caves. And oh my God, they're talking to a demon. They're talking to this thing. Bollocks, absolute bollocks. The people who were involved in the Hellfire Club in High Wycombe, Benjamin Franklin. Hang on. Are we just looking over the fact that Benjamin Franklin was a member of that place?
Yeah.
They were prominent politicians, okay? Prominent politicians. So many prominent people. That all you have to do is look into other people's literature and realize that the Hellfire Club in High Wycombe was a drunken, debauchery swingers club. That's all it was.
Yeah. That's
they had so many political opponents that had they done anything, they're derided. They are derided for their drunkenness and for their debauchery.
I know one place there we've investigated before, and it's the Limerick Hellfire Club. And there's a notorious poem there. I forget now who wrote it there, but it's to do with wine, the famous wine cellar, and it's in Limerick, a house called Ballinagard House. And the wine cellar is the only surviving thing surviving in the house now. But there's famous poetry, and it's to do with drinking and debauchery and all that.
I mean, they worship Bacchus, the god of wine, and Venus, the god of love. It was all about debauchery.
Yeah.
It's all about debauchery.
We've got a few shout-outs there. A few shout where I went off
Monks
there.
of Medmenham. I see that one.
Flynn says, Flynn, how you doing, Flynn from Whitlow? How you doing, Flynn? Dawn says she loves the Hellfire Club. Helena says, Duke Philip Wharton, member of the Loftus family, established that has a connection with the book I wrote on Ireland's most haunted house, Loftus Hall.
I want to read that.
And Mary says, that's absolutely right. Helena says they're Freemasons, monks of Medmenham were Freemasons, as was Philip Wharton before.
Yeah. It's a shaggers club.
Yeah. I specialise in Freemasonry and Temple of Knights. The woods at the back of the Hellfire Club, Massey Woods Island, is renowned for paranormal activity. That's what Joanne says there.
I was coming to that.
Yeah. So there's other hauntings there though that happens there. Is it true that the tale of Suki, is that correct?
So Suki. So let's see who's paying attention. So when was the Hellfire Club, the caves, opened?
Okay.
1760s. 17. Okay.
Was it before?
Okay. And now here's a most haunted fell foul of this that Yes. TV show. Well, you know Kieran, I know Kieran.
Yeah.
Kieran was the guy who was meant to keep it on track, and Anthony and I, Kieran and I, Anthony, we're all friends. So Suki is a serving barmaid from the 16th century.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. So that's 1500s.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 200 years discrepancy right there.
David says 1718. I think that's the date. He's put down the date of the Hellfire Club in Wycombe.
Well, even if he's correct, the date that Suki is meant to be, there's still best part of 200 years discrepancy. Suki. Now, do we want to know where? Bearing in mind that Most Haunted, Derek Acora channeled Suki. Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures channeled Suki. Do we want to know where the first account of Suki came from?
Yeah, go ahead. Where was it? Close by or?
A 1950s journal.
Okay.
Of an American tourist.
Oh, right. Okay. So it came later. Associated with it. Yeah.
It came 70 years ago.
Yeah.
Births, deaths, marriages, census. No Suki.
All right. Okay.
No Suki in West Wycombe Village.
Okay.
She was meant to have been killed in the caves. The story goes that she was lured into the caves by a very aristocratic lover. Not an aristocratic lover. She was in love with an aristocratic lover, and three local boys lured her in there, saying, "Oh, he wants to marry you. Come get some," sort of thing. She gets into the central cavern, realizes that her lover, the one she loves, is not there, where these three local boys throw stones at her. And the story is that she throws stones back. And they throw stones back, and one hits her on the head and kills her. So the story is that she died. Suki died, and she was a serving wench from the Royal, the Georgian Dragon pub. Well, before 1950, there's no records of Suki.
Right. Yeah.
None. Absolutely none.
But was there any person that would have not the name Suki, but would have been anyone else like that from a later period?
Now, a bloke I know, he was American in the American Air Force. He had his parents stay. This is like, when I say like the American Air Force was staying around High Wycombe. His family stayed in the Georgian Dragon pub.
Right.
And they were having lunch there one day. And the place was empty. It was like, middle of winter or something. There's no tourists around or nothing. It was just his mum and dad sitting there having lunch. And back then, landlord of the establishment came over to them and said, "Oh, how's your food? Is, everything okay?" And they said, "Oh, yep, the food is lovely. And you know what? We love the fact that you've got the actress in costume walking around."
Oh, wow.
And the landlord went, there's nobody walking around.
Right.
And and this bloke who was in the American Air Force, his parents said, "No, we saw a woman walking around wearing the robes and the from the like 1600s or whatever." And to this day, I still talk to him on Facebook. He's like, "No, my parents saw that in the Georgian Dragon pub." So for context, the Georgian Dragon pub is so you're seeing the mausoleum. Oh, did I talk about the mausoleum?
So, say that again, Ashley.
Did I talk about the mausoleum?
I think a little bit there about the mausoleum there.
Did I tell you about it was a pagan stone circle?
No.
Okay. So, lots and lots of people have been banging on about the fact that the Hellfire Club was satanic and it was murderous and this, that, the other. It was not. It really was not. Had it been, as I say, these were all very political people with political enemies.
Yeah.
Who were in print, literally in print, and they were derided from their drunkenness and their debauchery. Nothing untoward went on down there. It really did not. They were so lazy and drunk and all over the place. Would have been found out. The mausoleum
It's different.
up above.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
That was built by Sir Francis Dashwood before he built the caves, his family. The mausoleum above the caves was originally a pagan stone. That's the one. Was originally a pagan stone circle.
Right. Yeah.
Akin to Stonehenge. Stonehenge, basically, on a much smaller scale.
Yeah.
So we're talking Bronze Age there. So we're talking like 2,000-3,000 years BC.
Right.
Of a settlement there on that hill. The Romans settled that as well. So where you're seeing that mausoleum, you're talking a good 2,000-3,000 years BC settlement right there.
Yeah, Selena says they're not surprised that pagan stone circle Freemasons would create venues and sites associated with sacred geography.
Absolutely, yep. Oh, we're getting on to the Freemasons now. Okay, yeah.
Chambers and Loftus Hall relative to portals, important for Masonic rituals there.
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
But as going on to about the if there's investigated a lot the location.
So you saw me on a TV show, Paranormal Captured. Excuse me. So that TV show, Paranormal Captured, that was the first time people had been in there since the beginning of lockdown.
Okay. All right.
So the caves have been empty for, what was that, 18 months at that point? About 18 months at that point. So myself and MJ were the first people to go down there and actually start calling out, saying, come talk to us. We got flashy boxes. We got, but myself and MJ, we're both also mediums. Forget the little boxes and trinkets and flashy bits for TV. Myself and MJ, we're both mediums as well. And we're down there and not a lot is happening. And, it's actually, I'm thinking, how the hell are they going to make a TV show out of this? This is dreadful. This is boring. This is absolutely boring. I wake up the next morning. I feel like I've been hit by a truck.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, everything hurts. My toenails to this piece of hair here, it hurts. It all hurts. So holy shit. So I text MJ and I said, this is next day. How are you feeling? She's like, oh my God, I feel like I've been hit by a bus. So yeah, me too, dude. So a lot of the things to do with West Wycombe Caves, I can explain. I can debunk a lot of that. But there is something down there because, like I say, that one day me and MJ were down there. Honestly, the worst paranormal hangover I've ever had was that day. Was that day after that. Whatever is down there, it had missed us, missed people, missed tourists, or whatever it might be. It had missed us for 18 months, that part of lockdown. And me and MJ went down there. We connected. We were open.
Oh, God, you took a big hit, so.
Oh, truck, pow, straight to that. Ooh.
It does. I think a lot of people watching the show are investigators or just people that have gone to places and done that type of thing. They would know what that is like, as well. Alina says, you are mentioning lay markers, Anthony. Tell them, watch what they lie. True there. Alice says, good evening. Hello, Alice. How are you doing?
Hey, lovelies, ladies. Hello, everyone.
And so we're just going to go on to the quiz. Well, no, the competition is not a quiz there.
Yeah.
What's the capital of... I don't know. Ashley, so you got 4 choices. Ashley, I'm going to come to you now. Alina, you have a choice as well.
What, am I doing the quiz?
Well, it's not a quiz. It's a competition. So just imagine now, Ashley, you've been called into a haunted... there's a tenant in this house and the landlord has called you in and you need to make contact with a demon. Now, do you either use the crucifix to make contact, the telephone, the man who's supposed to be possessed, or the mirror? Which of those 4?
I suppose kicking him off the bed and go to sleep is not an option.
So it's up to you.
Probably the mirror. I'd probably do a bit of scrying, to be honest with you. A bit of scrying. Mirror.
Man in the mirror.
Yeah.
Alina,
I'm glad you did.
The 4 as well. Either the crucifix, telephone, man, or mirror. So you can either pick one of those 2. Alina, just type it in there, and then at the end of the show, we see if you're right there. You have a chance to go in the Halloween mega draw.
Do I get to go with her?
Well, Alina can pick the same thing, or she can pick with another one. But but you both be in the draw for Halloween.
I thought I want a date or something.
That could be arranged. Oh, you both gone for the mirror. God, everyone's gone for the mirror. Everyone went the mirror last week, and everyone's gone for the mirror. Okay. So that's both of you picked the mirror. Okay, so we'll see at the end of the show. So the next subject is we're going to talk about psychometry. So
yes, now psychometry.
So the paranormal knowledge of a physical object was focusing, creating an image. So psychometry there, Ashley, can you tell us your own experiences with it?
Well, I mean, anyone who listened to me on Uncanny on the BBC, my earliest memories are going to a spiritualist church in this down High Wycombe. I'm going back to like 4 or 5 years old. So I'm talking 40 years. My earliest memories are going to a spiritualist church. My mother was on the committee. She was a medium. That's all I've ever known. I now run the spiritualist church in High Wycombe. Little plug, but it's not really profit making. So yeah. In school, for some reason, and I don't know why I did this, but now I understand why. I was like 12, 13, whatever. I would hold on to a young girl's ring or something like that and get impressions, tell them their future. Of course, we know it's not telling them their future, but in my childlike mind, it was telling them their future. I now realize that in those ages, 12 to 13 years of age, I was doing psychometry. And again, for the record, you're not telling the future. There's no future telling this, that, the other. That's just me in my childlike mind back then. And what I would find, I would hold on to somebody's ring or a watch or whatever it may have been. And it was mostly a girl's item, which was pretty good when you're a young lad. Hey, you know what I mean? smooth, you know what I mean? I would hold on to this object, and if you're talking about how to help people with their psychometry, I would just hold on to it, and I would feel if anybody out there is a Reiki healer or a spiritual healer or any kind of energy healer, I would hold on to this object and I would feel that same burn.
Okay.
And I realize that doesn't help people who are not energy healers or Reiki healers or spiritual healers, but I would feel that same warmth, that intense warmth when I held this object. and I would then close my eyes and I would just then see things. Now, these things were not particularly linear. They were not particularly correct in as much as I'm seeing this. It would be more so like a caricature.
Okay, yeah.
I would be seeing an impression of things. So I had to then interpret what this image was. I wasn't seeing an image that told me, oh yeah, that's. I hate to use a really crude example, but I can't. I don't want to use this example, but it's the most obvious. Oh, I've seen the World Trading Center blow up. That's a really crude example. Really crude. I would see, a loved one over there with an elongated nose, and then a something over here, and then I get an emotional feel, and this emotional feel is like, oh, okay, it feels like I'm in love, and it feels like I'm getting married.
So you would get the impressions that were like typical of, like, saying that they're giving you that emotion, like say the traits.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Sort of feeling that, oh my god, what the hell, and every sort of emotion, or bad emotion into one, like, you know.
Yeah, absolutely, and these were emotions that were alien to mine, because I was like 13 years old. Well, actually, to this day, I still don't know what it feels like to be married. Yeah, I was feeling like, oh, I'm going down the aisle and I'm getting married. So it's really hard to kind of disseminate this feeling and trying to put it into words. So just for holding one object, there was a tremendous amount of information coming through that you then had to try and put into a spot, if you like. And that's if that one object belong to that one person. If you get somebody come to you and say, oh, this is my wedding ring, but it also belongs to my grandmother, well, then you're going back another 40, 50 years and picking up on that residual kind of energy.
Yeah, that's the question I was going to ask you there. Does this energy, once you've tuned in, does it lessen?
I think it depends. If in my experience, and my experience is not golden, it's not the Olympic standard. In my experience, if, say, for example, Anthony, you give me your grandfather's ring and I do a reading for you, and that's your reading. However, if next week we do that same thing again, your grandfather wants to come forward, well, then it's all about your grandfather. So it's like this one object can retain layers and layers and layers and layers, like an onion,
Yeah.
And beyond. It could have been your great grandfather who you never knew. So to you, that's a person like, oh, I don't know him. I don't know him. I don't know what's going on. But he knows you. He knows you.
True, yeah.
Because he's seen his son produce you. So he loves you. It's a very, very big subject. But psychometry is something that is quite amazing. And I really recommend against going into an antique shop and trying this, because there is so much shit that you can trip yourself out on it. But Ireland is a beautiful, amazing country with some beautiful, amazing homes and hotels and pubs and bars. Me in England, sometimes I just walk into a pub, I go to the toilet, just put my hand on the side of the wall, just for a split second, just to get a snapshot. And I don't necessarily understand it all in that time, but over a few days, maybe it comes out in dream form. And similarly with psychometry. Now, with psychometry, normally somebody would have asked you, oh, like I say, here's my grandmother's ring, hold it. and you're holding on to it. It's like, there's your grandmother there, there's you there, there's your chaotic life. You don't want to be married to him, but you're still engaged to him, and then your grandmother's over there, and there's so many layers. It's I mean, you know,
Is it, as you mentioned the door, as you mentioned the wall there, is there any like strong materials that people can use to relate to and focus on? No. That are more stronger. So that are more stronger. Like, is there any metals or is it?
Oh, I am not one for crystals or anything like that. I'm not one for magnetites or hematites or quartzes or anything like that. If your grandmother had a necklace that was given to her by her mother, that's the strength. That's your family's love right there. That necklace was being worn while your mother was born, and it's likely that that necklace was around while you were being born, and that all absorbs that family love, that family energy. And I think that's the most key thing. There's so many negative things about the paranormal. Like we've talked about the Hellfire Club and how it might have been demonic, but it really wasn't. I think with psychometry, we can actually feel family love.
Yeah, so it's like a connection, like it's like quantum as well. Like it's that little bit of connection from a distance there, you know.
Absolutely. My mother, my grandmother, my grandmother's mother. That's love. You know, it's nothing to be afraid of. It's absolutely something to enjoy. And if anybody wants to give it a go, then, like I say, just hold on to an object. Hold on to an object. Don't beat yourself up if you don't see anything. Don't beat yourself up if you don't hear anything. Just hold on to an object and, maybe have a little pen and a pad. Write down a phrase. Because your first time doing it is not going to be the correct time doing it. It does take practice. It really does take practice. So let's say practice with friends, family. Just hold on to an object just see what you feel. Do you feel hungry? Do you feel thirsty? Do you feel elated? Do you feel love? Write down these emotions. And then eventually you can actually explore all these emotions and bring it down to a point where you can identify a person that the person you're reading for can identify.
Helena said she's Tony Stockwell today. Tony Stockwell, medium there. Come to your question as well again in a second there, Helena there. Flynn says, sorry guys, I know in a different topic, but a middle-aged lady, Mary Connor, screams her name out. Ashley, could it be spirit you and MJ connected with and visited after the lockdown? Just putting it out there. So Flynn is just saying that he senses somebody called Mary O'Connor.
Do you know what? With these like 2-3 centuries that those caves have been around, everybody blames the Hellfire Club. It could have been anybody. It literally could have been Susan, who worked there 50 years ago. Do you know what I mean? There is a presence in those caves. There is a presence in those caves. It's just not what people think it is.
Helena says we can talk about inherent memory, the memory of an object or personal memory, but all the other layers of people touching it are called a gathered memory there.
Yeah. So basically, that's what we're saying with with psychometry or residual energy. I've certainly walked into a friend's house and put my hand on the wall, and I wish I could show you what I've seen. I saw a World War II pilot get shot down and fall down with a parachute, and I'm thinking, what the fuck am I seeing? Well, that's what happened in that farmhouse. I was seeing his experience.
Helena said, you can feel the experience there. Helena says, I think it's better to go to places of less transit that have had less contact with lots of people, so memories are purer. Memories coming out a few days later. I also get that sometimes it's because when our mind stills and we don't focus on it, it consciously the soul takes over. For me, we read with the soul to soul. In fact, psychometry comes from Greek. I've just lost that now. Greek terms mean psyche equals soul, and matron, measuring or reading.
Psychosis of the mind. Yeah. So is that Helena? Is it
Helena?
Yeah.
Helena's great there. She's a great lady.
Yeah. I think she's bang on there. To be honest with you, I think there is whether we call it residual energy or like an imprint of the past that continues. There is a thing, and my science in school, I got biology, I got chemistry, physics. Oh shit! However, there is a theory in physics that says that all time happens at the same time. All time happens at the same time. Therefore, we have already been and gone. So these impressions of the past are not from the past. They're from some concurrent
different dimension.
Yeah. And I'm nowhere near educated enough to continue this conversation.
They're not retrocognitive, but they're.
I'm pulling my hair out right here.
It's Saturday's bank holiday.
Yeah,
I wasn't good at physics either.
but it's like, if time is not real, time is concurrent, because we know that time is not real, because physics have already told us that time is not real. So anything from the past is actually concurrent in some alternate universe, kind of.
No, so it's I suppose the time is distance. I suppose it's between the 12 and the 1, and there's a hand showing the distance to it. And I suppose it just depends how far we are to it or near to it. It's hard to say. Are we closer to the 12 or the 1? I don't know. What time is it?
You've lost me there, Andy. You've lost me there. I'm flying back to New York, mate.
Flying. Don't mention flying. Time difference. Joanne says, "Have you ever told lies about an event yet to happen?"
Have I told lies? No.
If it's not a positive one, whilst holding
no,
standing beside you.
No, absolutely not. I know this sounds really, really arrogant. I have provided historical research for many paranormal TV shows. Some are yet to come.
Oh, cool.
How can I say this without revealing too much? In fact, you know what? I've not signed any disclosure agreements. Okay. Jack Osborne, an upcoming TV show of Jack Osborne's, based here in England. I provided all the research for that show. All the research. However, I did not tell them everything I knew.
That's true.
By the time that show comes out, I will have released all my research.
Yeah.
So Jack Osborne, even though I know that it was not your problem, it was the documentary crew, it was the producers. Well, you shouldn't have fucked me off, should you? Screw you.
There we go from Ashley himself.
Yeah.
Alice says,
for context, the Osbornes lived 5 miles up the road from where I live.
Oh, right, okay.
So the whole thing was about Jack Osborne coming back home. Doing a ghost tour around here. Who do they get to provide the research?
Yeah.
Who did they pay? Not me.
Yeah, that's it. They're like, I know. Well, shows. I don't know what some shows are there for, just entertainment. Then, but what it's.
Yes.
Alice says, Alice, where I live in Mountain Witch is beautiful. Many people would have.
I want to go there.
Over centuries, I often feel an energy, but I don't know. It's my mind thinking. I don't know. Is that psychometry?
So now here is this is an amazing question.
Hmm.
So here's the difference between psychometry. Psychometry is holding on to an object, a physical object, and it's semantics. It really is semantics.
Hmm.
If you're sitting somewhere and you're feeling a vibe, and I'm guessing this young lady, what was her name?
Alice.
Alice.
Yeah.
Alice. I'm guessing that you're kind of like sensitive and in tune anyway. I would say just do a meditation and see what comes through, because personally, I think that you would actually attain a lot more knowledge just by sitting, doing some yoga, some breathing, meditation, letting that come through. Psychometry, again, it's very much semantics for just yeah. And as we know, just holding on to something, it's not the be all and end all.
Like Alina said here as well, sacred geography, yeah. And Alina, what she learned from her last week in her class there, she's mentioned looking around the site, looking what's around, and not actually the actual site itself, but what's around the vicinity. As you mentioned there, Ashley, about the lords that still own the Dashwoods there, like the Hellfire Clubs and the land around it there.
Yeah.
You know,
it's whether you place your hands on something or whether you place your butt on something, if you are genuinely open to receiving that energy from the past or the present or the future, you will receive that energy. But it doesn't matter where we are now: London, Dublin, New York, Los Angeles, Tokyo. We're all so damn busy. We just don't have time, and we're just like crazy. Whereas, like, anyone who's done martial arts to a particular level, yoga or Tai Chi, anything like that, those people are just a little bit more in tune with the Earth's rhythm. And I'm not trying to be like green, even though I am green, actually. It's just the way that slowing down your own kind of like craziness.
yeah.
Tai Chi, yoga, whatever it might be. Just becoming more in tune with your surroundings. I mean, I'm from a very rural part of England between London and Oxford. Fairly rural. But I love New York. I absolutely love New York. I love the hustle and bustle of New York. Now, you would think that spiritually, I would seek to avoid the hustle and bustle of New York. I love it. I absolutely love it. I love going to it. I've got friends there. I've got family there. And I love going to New York. It's like, yeah, drink, party.
Pizza.
Pizza? Are you kidding me? The best pizza on the planet. Pizza. Oh, like that. The pizza.
Yeah. But I was going to ask you one last question there, just before because we're probably headway there. Because I don't know what match of the day's on soon there. I mentioned Tottenham.
Arsenal's playing tomorrow, so I'm all right. Your mate, part of your team.
Yeah, I know Cameron. Yeah, he's a Tottenham supporter. Ashley's an Arsenal supporter there. So, but anyway, I don't know. I don't know what you got in your hand there, Ashley. But anyway, I know it's shaking. I don't know. But
was it shaking? Was it? Oh,
I was going to say.
What's his name? Cameron. Yeah.
But anyway, the last question, I suppose, is a serious question there. It's about psychometry and I suppose like missing persons and finding suspects.
Oh, okay, yeah, serious.
Is it essential? Is that part? Can it be done?
So when we're talking about missing persons, there has been some positive effects with mediums influence. There are some police forces who have employed mediums and have found positive outcomes. I say positive outcomes. Sometimes the outcome is not positive, but they found resolution, is what I'm trying to say.
True, yeah.
Found resolution. The whole thing with psychometry, like I say, I mean, you could be dealing with granny's energy, granddad's energy, the person next to you's energy, any piece of thing that you've ever owned. You know, let's say my object here. Let's say I've carried this in my pocket for the last 20 years. Well, that's not just 20 years worth of people who love me. That's 20 years worth of people who have cut me up at the junction. That's 20 years worth of people who have, called me a twat. It's not all love and light. It's not all love and light. However, as mediums, we do look at the love and the light. But when you're talking about missing persons in that respect and holding an object, I think it can help, but I would not call it scientific by any stretch of the imagination. Unfortunately, I would love to say, if you've got a missing loved one or dog or whatever, give me your thing and I will find it. No, I can't guarantee that. Sorry, no.
Yeah, as remember, as we know, Kieran O'Keefe says there. Sometimes it can be helpful bringing in somebody new to the case or something like that, so they can actually open the case up again, or they can actually know more knowledge of cases that more than a person that's a rookie police officer there. But we're just going to go on to the last. We've just got a few more shout outs there. Ashley says, Alice says, thank you for explaining Helena and Ashley. Helena says, Ashley is very correct. Slowing down awakens us from sleepwalking, so we notice things we normally would not. And Joanne also says, from Seekers of the Afterlife, best of both worlds, New York, hustle and bustle, then retreat home for peace and quiet. Dawn says, very interesting. Thanks. See you soon, Ashley. There. So, what have you got planned for the future there, Ashley?
Well, I'm coming to Dublin.
Oh, cool! Definitely.
I'm coming for a few pints of Guinness and meeting up with you guys.
Definitely, any time there, and hopefully soon enough there, we'll be in contact with you there, and hopefully we get over to you as well, in the next few months there.
But I've been to the Emerald Isle a fair few times, and it is a beautiful, beautiful country. But you know what? I've never done paranormal stuff.
No. Yeah.
I've gone there and I've just gone drink. And why would you not? Because it's amazing.
Yeah.
But that little bit of paranormal, I've never done that in Ireland.
Let's take it. There's loads of teams here, and I'm sure everyone as well will be welcoming there. If you're coming to if you want to pick anywhere, just let us know there, and we'll show you more. So this is the video. So we're going to show this. We're going to see now if you're both right. I think this is the mirror. So we're going to see if you're right there. Helena and Ashley, you picked the mirror. You're in in a bedroom. We're trying to find a. Unfortunate, guys. No, look, it wasn't the mirror. So there you go. So after all that time was gone, there was nobody in there. Just to be sure, just to show everyone what it was there, this is where it was. Yes, there you go, folks. It was, in fact, I don't know if you saw that. I don't know. It was, in fact, the crucifix was the correct one.
Yeah, you got me on that one.
Yeah. Everyone picked the mirror. I don't know. Everyone picked the mirror last week as well there.
Maybe it's my vanity trying to sort my hair out or something like that.
Well, nobody's in the Halloween mega draw, folks, yet. So you've all got a chance next week there. Joanne says, ever got a bad vibe from just shaking someone's hand?
Ooh. Oh, that's a whole other podcast. Thank you, Joanne. Thank you, Joanne. Thank you, Joanne. That's a
good idea. Yeah. Shaking someone. That's the studio match of the day.
Whole other podcast.
Alina says, let's go. That's a plan there. That's probably to do with coming to Ireland there. Come over February for a paranormal convention. Yes, there is a paranormal convention there, Ashley.
Ooh,
which
I want to do one here in England.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, Kieran's going to be involved because he's got no choice because he palms so much work off on me.
No, yeah.
So Kieran's blatantly involved.
Cool.
Tell me about this Irish one.
I'll tell you after the show there. Like, it'd be great to have you there as well, you know. But I'll tell you afterwards there.
Again, I'm not allergic to Guinness, so you know.
What me and Mary do know, it's going to be in Wexford anyway, so it's not that far.
I can get there. That's fine. Yeah.
Joanne says lots of very active Irish locations to visit. Called to the southeast, which is in Wexford.
That's right down, I suppose, near the
southeast.
In terms of England, going down towards Wales. Ireland,
going down towards Wales.
No, I've heard that there's a lot of old pagan practice down that way.
Yeah, there is in Wexford. There, it's a big the Hutt Peninsula there. It's very active there.
A lot of pagan-y things. Yeah.
Flynn says, "Great show, guys. Cheers there.
Go on, you Flynn. Join us for a beer.
He will be there. Who else? Brian says, great show, Brian from BPI, Belfast Paranormal Investigators.
Go on, Brian. Good man. Good man, Brian.
Great interview, says Helena.
Helena, is that really her picture? She's really pretty.
Yeah, that's Helena's picture there.
It is me.
And there's me. And there's Joanne. Can't wait to hear your podcasts. Yeah. So it's Uncanny. Is that the
name? Joanne.
Podcast?
Yeah. Honestly, like if you want to hear me on like the BBC Uncanny, well, just go to the BBC. I realise Irish folk don't like the British too much, but
too much. Hey,
I'm Italian. I'm Italian. You know what I mean? I'm Italian. I'm stuck here. I'm Italian. You know what I mean? Darkwood. That's actually my acting name. My real name is Italian. Honestly, I'm not joking.
That's weird. Ashley Italian.
This was a comedian. You know what I mean? Honestly, these English pigs. Honestly, the BBC. Look up BBC Uncanny and BBC Battersea Poltergeist. I turn up in Uncanny, but Battersea Poltergeist, Kieran O'Keefe looks into this amazing poltergeist case. Phenomenal, really is phenomenal. All on your BBC, which we've paid for, so you guys should get it for free.
Yeah.
It's
hosted by Danny Robbins, is it? Danny Robbins?
Danny Robbins, yeah. Good old Danny.
Irene says, great show.
Irene.
You guys, thank you. Love to everyone in California. Say hi to Ray for me there.
Oh, I'm coming to California too. Yeah.
Joanne said, totally agree, Mary. I'm from Birmingham, Joanne.
Birmingham?
Yeah, my wife Janice, she's from Coventry as well. Alina says, I speak Italian. Alice says, Waterford is great too. Yeah, Waterford. Great place there. Love Waterford. Very cool place to investigate in Waterford there. Very spooky place. Joanne says, we'll definitely look into those. Thanks, Ashley.
Yeah.
So that's about it, folks. Just one more thing there I got a show there. This Thursday is this. If you can see it, I don't know. It's your Ouija hour. So we're doing an hour-long show dedicated to the Ouija board. If you have any questions, feel free to put them forward there, and we'll ask the board what the answers are, whatever you want to do, if it's to do with health, travel, wealth, anything there, or if you just want to know anything to do with it's an experiment there, so we can all participate there online there. Ashley, it's been great.
Anthony, so it's been a pleasure, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Great, and I knew I connected because I've seen Ashley before on TV, and I thought, yeah, he's going to be, it'd be great to interview. Yeah, and then that happened, and you appeared on Kieran's course, and then So.
Turns out I'm friends with Kieran O'Keefe.
Yeah, so yeah, it's amazing.
I say friends.
All right, so folks,
we're buddies, me and Kieran. We're buddies. Yeah.
We're buddies. I won't see you next time. We'll see you in the near distance. Goodbye for now, folks.
God bless everybody. God bless.
Bye. Love to have a great weekend. So.